So this weekend we did the cave sing here at Mammoth Cave National Park, and now I'm going to do this bike trail, railroad trail, whatever, and we're going to go do it from end to end. We're starting here at the visitor center. Should be a good morning here at around the beginning of December. Pretty good weather for this day. Looking forward to it. May say a couple things along the way. All right, this is where we're going to start. Here at the Mammoth Cave Railroad Bike and Hike Trail. You can see the length of it. I think it's about a little over 16 miles there and back, almost to Park City. And if you stop the video, you can read a little bit about the importance of the railroad here. Back there, we're going to pass it in a couple minutes. It is part of the old railroad. Starting here at the visitor center and going to go all the way down almost to I-65. Good morning for this. Just a little history to read about the Mammoth Cave Railroad. We're going hopefully that way. So I'm sure you can go on YouTube and find a lot of videos of what exactly is on this bike ride. This is pretty much it. You're going along the road a little bit. Not all the time, but it's this kind of crushed gravel. It's easy to ride on. And today, well, it rained a little bit this morning, so it's a little wet. But it's a delightful ride through here. So, you know, don't consult this video if you're trying to find all the little stops and pieces along the way. There's lots of signs to read, lots of stuff to kind of soak in regard to the history of this area, which is pretty rich. I find the most fascinating part is this being the western edge of Appalachia, however you want to say it. But there you go. Delightful trail for a bike and for walking. Along the Mammoth Cave Parkway, here's Diamond Caverns, another cave in the area of Mammoth Cave. There's so many around here. Onk's Cave, I think, is over there in Cave City. There's one over there in Horse Cave. Can't remember what the name of that is. Maybe it's just called Horse Cave. There's one in Bowling Green. There's a bunch around here. And I've never been to this one, and I've never been to those others, but I've been to Mammoth Cave. But maybe I need to put all these on my bucket list. So on the bike route, right here in front of Diamond Caverns, just came out of the woods back there. Just a nice up and hill section. But I'm on an e-bike, so uphill, it's no problem for me. All right, I'm at the end of the trail over here at 65, and now I'm gonna go back. Did a couple little sides along the way, and had the counter going on my map as far as timing it and stuff like that. Right at about an hour doing all that, which, you know, I did it at kind of a leisurely pace, and just delightful. I've gone close to 9 miles, mainly because of just going off a little bit on different things. So I got a few words I'm going to say in a few moments. I'm going to find a good quiet place to do that. Just to give you a little bit of a heads up, there'll be a few minutes of Pappy talking, but I'm going to be talking about kind of hidden things being exposed, doing business with God, God revealing some things in your heart. Got me thinking about it in regard to Mammoth Cave. Obviously, because it's underground, it's hidden. Made me think of some things in regard to that, and also as I was praying this morning and just asking God for direction. All right, there you go. Getting back on the bike, find a quiet place. I've passed by this sign a few times in my life, but also a lot of national park signs kind of like this, and there's typically people in front of them. And it's understandable because it's kind of one of those things that you go into a special place, you're gonna try to put it down in a picture for a memory to go back to. So we're getting back on this Mammoth Cave Railroad bike and hike trail. Oh yeah, the Grizzly Adams, look. At the Furlong Cemetery, and this is just a good quiet place to stop and just kind of give some of my thoughts. I'm a sign reader, but sometimes I get bored with signs. I read half of that sign, I go, oh, that's not that interesting. And but most of the time I'm reading signs, but they can get a bit overwhelming. There's one sign that I read back there at the Diamond Caverns. The way they found that cavern was a slave was lowered into a hole, and I think it was 1859 or something, 49, something like that. And he found that cavern by being lowered down into it. He saw things that looked like crystal, and he described them, they look like diamonds, and thus the name Diamond Cavern. Cannot remember how they discovered Mammoth Cave, but they're still actually discovering more and more of it. There's just hundreds of miles of cave in there that they've gone back into, and it's just keeps going. And but when they discovered it, I don't know, it became a national park, I think in 1941, but the park in that whole area was a touristy area even in the 1800s. So but before all that, it was hidden. And it just got me thinking about the hidden things of life. Particularly as I was biking this morning, I was thinking some of my hidden sins that sometimes get out. I was thinking about me being, whether I was a person of integrity or not, a person of honesty, and I won't go into a lot of detail with my conversation with God in that regard, but it can be pretty humbling when you sit and think about it. Maybe that's why a lot of people don't do quiet times, because of just the sobering, humbling nature of it, because God gets a hold of you. And I think that's been from day one. Even in Psalm 139, it says, I was hidden in the secret places, but you knew me. You formed my innermost being. I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. God sees it all, and He knows it all. And it's not like my hidden faults and sins and are escaping Him at all. He knows these things. He's God, okay? But I think the realization in a quiet time, or even in prayer, or just sometimes with a close friend, is the realization of the enormity of those things, or putting those hidden things in perspective, because darkness loves to be hidden. Darkness does not want any light shined on it. And sin is right there with that, and it just loves to be in the darkness. And I think that's why it's important that we confess to God, that we realize that we're trying to hide some things. That's what I think confession is all about. I think it's important to tell folks things. You seek forgiveness from God, but you go to folks, not necessarily even the ones that you've offended, but the ones that you're accountable to. So you can tell these things. So you're bringing them out to the light. I think we're called people of the light. Jesus is called the light of the world, and we're supposed to be like Jesus. And so I think it's important to let those hidden things that are you realize about yourself out in the open, and listen to your conscience. It's amazing. You don't even have to be a follower of Jesus. God's put consciences in all of us, and the understanding of right and wrong, and so it's not even necessarily a Christian thing, but it all is put in perspective and purpose in our lives because of what Jesus has done for us. And I think it's important to think through these things because like I said, it exposes things and puts things in the light where we are more free than we ever are. Sin and the hidden things that don't see any light, they don't bring freedom. They just don't. They're shackles. And I think as unbelievers wrestle with that, what do they have to help them walk through that, to have some kind of realization and perspective and forgiveness. But as believers, we have that at our disposal because we have and we serve a forgiving and loving God who nothing's hidden from him. You look through the Psalms. We're not getting by with anything, but I think what's important is us realizing that and being humbled and somewhat put in our place. When I was 18, I accepted Jesus, and if I had known that then, the kind of a little bit more of what I understand more and more now as 62, I think I still would have signed up for Christianity. I still would have accepted Jesus as my Savior, but man, just thinking about the bigness of that, and even a lifetime of sometimes hidden sin that gets exposed in little ways here and there. And I think for myself, and like I said, I'm not going to use this as a confessional, but just the sins of lying, sins of deception, the sins of not being honest. They may come in small ways, and it doesn't necessarily even have to be in big packages of infidelity or robbing a bank or any number of big things. That could be just small minute things, small little tiny pieces that in the economy of life, I don't know exactly how they accumulate and what they do, but they can mess with your conscience and bring you to a place where, what's the big deal? Sometimes those little things, they build up and they make a mindset where you look at a situation that is a lot bigger than just those small things. And you go, why not? I'm a strong person. I can handle whatever that thing is. And the fact of the matter is, you may for a time, but no, God will not be mocked. We reap what we sow. So, some thoughts here on the trail. Going to finish the bike ride. I think I got about 3 miles left to the visitor center, but I just wanted to give this to you. 7, almost 8 minutes of Pappy trail talk, and I don't know what you want to call this, but love y'all. Take care.